My name is Sara Niles. I am going to tell you a true story. When I was a little girl, nothing was normal in my life. I didn't have two parents. I was raised by an old man. I ended up marrying an abuser when I was 16 because old people die early and they leave the children behind. Both my adoptive relatives were in their 80s when they got me. So when I married this man, I had also joined a religion that endorsed supporting your man no matter what. It was a toxic form of patriarchy embedded within the religion that said stand by your man, endure, have long suffering, wait because God knows what you're going through. He will deliver you. All of these beliefs helped to keep me trapped for a very long time because I was the good little girl who was going to do what was right. I was devoted, dutiful. Therefore, I put up with broken bones, being chased by knives, being threatened, spit on. And of course, there was always the intense honeymoon phase of sorry, forgive me, I don't know what was wrong with me, I shall get help. And all of the lies that I now know and knew later that malignant narcissists tell all the time because it's a tool they use to lie. Lying to them is like food. It's like medicine. It heightens their power. And if they can manipulate you 10 times, 100 times, the more power they have over you, the more they feel like they're invincible. And within those years, we're talking about a decade and a half that I was stuck in this religious trap, marital trap, brainwashing trap, because religious narratives that keep you free of thought, unable to make good decisions, is a form of brainwashing. It's cultish. I was in a cultish religion. Domestic violence and the toxic relationships that it spurs creates the same type cultish mentality, one in which you continue to deny your own truths, your own feelings, your own beliefs, and instead you are trying hard to please and accept, compromise, validate, and in response, you receive the opposite. You are invalidated, you are compromised, you are violated, and your self is destroyed and replaced with a false self, one that gives in, gives up, creates a mindset that destroys hope, destroys passion, destroys dreams. When I was young, I was very intelligent. I was nurtured well by this older couple in their 80s. They taught me to love, to be proud of myself, to be confident. And I was surrounded by family who embellished and endorsed these same behaviors and attitudes to where I was valuable, I was powerful, I was me, I was enough. That's what I began with. Deep down inside, it still existed within me, deep within me. But in the moment when you're in the middle of a sea, drowning in the waves, struggling to survive, you don't see those strengths. You only see survival. You see day to day. You see from moment to moment, from event to event, incident to incident, and you continue to try to manage something that you cannot manage. You're trying to manage something you cannot control. If only I do this, then he won't do that. Or if it's a she won't do that. Therefore, you rationalize and tell yourself lies and make yourself believe that the marriage or the relationship is healthy. It's just that this person needs help. They need help because most of the time they're okay. They pay the bills. They may be agreeable. They may laugh and joke. They may be fun to be around. For most of the time, it's only once or twice a day they have these fits and scare us and break things and call names. And then if we can just learn not to let those things happen. If I just don't do this or that, if the children don't laugh too loud or break a toy or anything like that, everything will be fine. But it's never fine when you're living in a war zone. And it's definitely not fine when you make your children exist within this war zone, because children are delicate. They grow, their roots expand, their brains, their synapses are building upon each other. And instead of them being free to grow and be and to become confident, healthy, happy human beings, they're in survival mode with you. They're also learning the worst types of behaviors. They're learning to either abuse or accept abuse. They're learning to deny their true selves. They're learning not to show their authenticity. They're learning not to believe in themselves. They're learning not to dream. And within this life of survival, you're killing something vital within the children. But the survival victims, the mothers and the fathers who survived through this, don't see that because they're in the middle of the ocean. That's just one small wave. They're fighting against the bigger ones that's going to take them down. Or so they think. But like all true lies, eventually they break. Trauma bonds break. The hoping and wishing becomes old. And most of all, victims married young at 16 like me grow up. In spite of the suppression and the oppression, they still grow up. In spite of the cultish brainwashing, they still begin to think. Because misery has a way of doing that to you. It makes you think. One day is one day too many of something. And you wake up. And once you wake up, things become dangerous if you have a malignant, sadistic narcissist with all four of the tetrad traits like I had. Not only were they narcissistic, or he was narcissistic, he also was psychopathic and sadistic, in addition to the narcissism and the Machiavellianism. Those two last traits simply means they'll do anything. They will do anything because they don't have moral laws of God or man stopping them from it. They're governed by their own drives, their own wants and needs, and they have shut out everything that gets in the way of that. They've darkened themselves into monsters, and that is what I had. I had a monster. In 1987, February 13th, I will never forget it. It was a Sunday. It began on February 12th, crossed over into the 13th, and I found myself hiding in a shed in a thunderstorm, an unseasonal thunderstorm, straight out of a horror movie. Lightning and thunder and rain pouring down. I had run out into the wind and the rain to get away from him because he had decided that was the night. He'd been building up to it for 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. He could not control me completely. He would destroy me, and he was going to enjoy the process. That was it. That was the night. And needless to say, it's a longer story. Read Torn from the Inside Out, and you can read the rest of the story. But I escaped with 5 children, no money, nowhere to go, and that is where it ended. That part of the story. Read Torn from the Inside Out by Sara Niles. It is my life. Thank you.